Greetings, my name is Shanice Phillip, and I am the counselor here at the University of the Southern Caribbean. And I was asked by the Spiritual Development Department to share a thought from the book of Daniel, which coincides with our theme for Spiritual Emphasis Week. And as I was reading through the book of Daniel, I came across chapter 10, verse 12, and this is where I pulled my thought from. Now, this verse says, well, let me give you a bit of backstory first. At this point in Daniel's story, we've almost come to the end, but he is in the midst of a vision, and he is seeing this very awesome figure that has all these different elements. It's very intimidating, it's very overwhelming. And the chapter describes Daniel being in a state of almost immobilization, where he couldn't react, he didn't know he couldn't really say anything. He was just immobilized or in a state of shock or in a state of awe by what he was seeing, maybe even a little bit fearful. And in the midst of all of that, Daniel hears a voice that says, and this is in verse 12, "Do not be afraid, Daniel, since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself before God, your words were heard, and I come in response to them." And at that point in time, I knew that this is the verse I wanted to use to share my thoughts, because from this verse, it tells me that even in that moment where he couldn't say anything or he couldn't really do anything, all of the work that he had put in previously to build his spiritual relationship and develop that connection with God were coming to fruition. It was that work and that effort was benefiting him now. God was saying that even from that first time that you started, you were looking for understanding, or you set your mind to gain understanding, and I heard your words from then, and I'm coming in response to that. And that reminded me of a theme or a concept in psychology, which is self-care. I'm sure that a lot of you have heard about it because it's a very popular theme right now, where we said that self-care is doing the little acts and doing those things that continue to build your reserves as an individual. It helps you reach a state of kind of homeostasis where you can deal with stressful situations and you can deal with all the problems that you face when they do come up, and you're coming from a place of rest and resourcefulness rather from a place where you're already drained. And spiritual self-care is also an element of that. And in this particular verse, I think we see Daniel's spiritual self-care coming to fruition here. Daniel has been putting in the work to take care of himself, to develop that relationship with God, to build those resources. So now when he's in a position where he mightn't have the immediate thought, or might not be he might not immediately be able to maybe call out a text or to think about something. God is saying that doesn't matter. I see the work that you've done. I see that even from the first time that you've put your mind to gain understanding, that you've been putting in that work and you humbled yourself before me. I heard your first thoughts. I heard your first words, and I'm coming in response to that for you. So for me, it just highlighted the importance of continuing to build your spiritual reserves, or to take care of yourself spiritually. Engage in spiritual self-care, if you will. Would that be reading a text, doing your daily devotions, talking to God? Even when things seem like they're going well and you might not be facing a spiritual obstacle, it's still important to engage with your spiritual health and to develop yourself spiritually that way. So when you do face those obstacles that may seem insurmountable in that time, you have all of this resource and all of this knowledge to pull from, where you can help you out now, rather than trying to pull from something that isn't really there. And that is the thought that really stood out for me when I started rereading the book of Daniel. And this comes from Daniel chapter 10, verse 12 specifically. I hope that this resonated with someone as you heard these words. Bye.